Hi guys, today we're talking about money and happiness. The question we're asking and trying to answer is, can money buy happiness? Ridiculous, isn't it? To think that something like money, an exchange of value, can buy you something like happiness, a feeling that's not even a physical commodity. Or is it? I am Nulin Tahani and welcome to Money on Point. Zaga, 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 zaga. In answering the question of whether money buys you happiness, there are two things that we need to clear up. But before we do that, can we agree that you cannot take money, go to a store, and exchange it for happiness, a feeling? What you can do, you can go to a store, exchange your money for an item or something that makes you feel happy or experience happiness, right? Now, the two things we need to clear up is, number one, how do we define happiness, right? Number two, is there a value that you can place on happiness? Is there a monetary value that you can place on happiness? So when I have this amount of money, I will be able to be happy, right? So those are the two things we need to clear up. If happiness to you is based on the quality of life, based on the amount of money you make and what it affords you, then there are quite a few studies that have been done on money buying happiness. One of those studies was done by Malcolm Gladwell, and he concluded that the average American household needed about 75,000 per annum to be able to afford happiness. In South African rand terms, that's about 1.3 million. Imagine 1.3 million per household. That means that more than 3/4 of this country is unhappy and will not see happiness for a long time to come. So what Malcolm Gladwell was trying to do with that study is he was trying to drive home the point of lacking nothing and having everything that you basically need, and also being able to afford the things that you want, as well as something that in economic terms is called diminishing marginal utility. So let's break down that term. Let's start with utility. Utility in economic terms represents happiness or satisfaction, right? Marginal utility means that an increase in utility, an increase in happiness, or an increase in satisfaction, if you replace utility with satisfaction or happiness, based on one additional amount of something that you consume, right? So marginal utility, an increase in utility based on one additional unit of consumption, right? Diminishing marginal utility, we're going to explain with an example of a cake. Let's say you haven't had cake in a while and you crave it. You go out and get yourself a cake. Obviously, that very first slice of the cake is going to bring you the ultimate satisfaction, right? But by the time you get to the sixth or seventh slice, you won't experience the same satisfaction that you experienced with the first slice. One, you'll be uncomfortably full, so the satisfaction will not be the same. So your satisfaction has now diminished, it has decreased as you have increased your unit of consumption. So Malcolm Gladwell was trying to drive home the point that after 75,000 US dollars or 1.3 million in rands, and this was a couple of years ago, so based on cost of living, it probably would have gone up. After that amount, you no longer can buy yourself happiness. So whatever the 75,000 US dollars affords you, after that, it's just money. So obviously, not having 1.3 million does not mean you will not be happy. It does not mean that you cannot feel happy in your lifetime until you reach 1.3 million or 75,000 US dollars. So now let's get into the fun stuff. Let's talk about the happiness, right? If you've been watching my videos from the very first one, you'll notice that I ask you to answer questions about yourself so that you can learn about who you are and how you relate with money. There's no difference with this episode. Please answer the questions, and these questions now relate to your happiness, right? Question number 1. What do you need to be happy? So what does happiness mean to you, right? What makes you happy? Question number 2. Do you have an actual understanding of your happiness? What I mean by that is, do you know when it happens? When do you feel happy? When what has happened? What conditions have taken place for you to be happy? And is this something that you can make happen for yourself? Can you make yourself happy, right? Question number 3, is your happiness linked to material things, right? So if that is a yes for question number 3, then obviously money can buy you happiness because it's now linked. To conclude on money buying you happiness, I think we can agree that it is important for you to know how you can get to a state of happiness, how you experience your happiness, because then you can manage your money in a way that makes you feel happy. Because just as much as you can manage your money in a way that makes you feel happy, you can also do the opposite, manage your money in a way that makes you feel miserable, and nobody wants that. So for the next video, we'll be talking about money and others. So the relationship between your money and your family, your money and your friendships, your money and your relationships. Thank you for watching.